the dream come true for you?
Oh, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Football, bloody hell. But they never give in. And that's the winner.
Welcome to the American Red Devils podcast. I'm John.
I'm Alex.
And we're bringing you the best Manchester United news from this side of the pond.
Woo, sir. How we doing? It is the FA Cup final preview for the American Red Devils. We have a huge match on Saturday at the one and only, the famous Wembley Stadium. We've been there already this season, taking the glory away from Newcastle United, the upstarts, oil money in their own right. We're playing OG oil money, Man City, in a Manchester derby FA Cup final. Great way to finish the season, hopefully strong. United finished in third over the weekend. I thought it was a very good end to a strong, long season. And now this is about the gravy boat, baby. This is about back against the wall, playing in a final, trying to deny our neighbors the ultimate prize in football, which is the treble. We've done this before. Look through the history, 1977 FA Cup final against the Scouse Bastards. They were on the way to a treble. A United side, rocky a little bit, went out of the way, crashed their dreams. I'm hoping we can do the same thing against the City Blues at Wembley. I know our fans are going to be a much finer voice. Either way, it's a cup final, everything to play for, 90 minutes, anything can happen, and I have a feeling it might not last just 90 minutes. Sir, how you feeling before we head to the last game of the season? This is the last game of the 2022-2023 season, the longest season in history, and I think that's just a fact. Maybe the COVID break counted because of whatever, but this just feels like we've been playing for years. How we doing?
It's a Winter World Cup season, and there is one more match left. That's right, Manchester United fans. The trophy is up for grabs. The domestic double, the Erik ten Hag speech at Old Trafford was that a preview of what we're going to see. An upset. City strolling in. Asterix FC. Ardwick. Read your history. Go back. The match-fixing scandal that got Manchester United all the players that won us our first league under John Henry Davies. Tons of history here, and we have to do it. The treble on the line. Everything on the line for Manchester United. And all I want to see is a hard-fought match by the lads. Clearly, City are titans of European football. They think they've won it all. They've only won the league, and they did it against Wet Noodle Arsenal and Erik ten Hag. And Manchester United really with an arm tied behind our back. You look at our squad, you look at how we fared last season. This has been a great season for United, and we want to finish strong. I think we can win it. We're dangerous on the day. We beat City earlier this season as well. Some might argue that's before they had this amazing run of form, but I think they're there for the taking. They have a lot on their mind, and Manchester United as underdogs, sir, we perform pretty well. I'm pretty confident going into Wembley this Saturday.
Don't get too confident, so you have a tendency to have the keys or be the foreman of the Jinx Factory. At least you claim that I tend to be. But you know what I like about this?
I'm confident we're going to be playing better than expectations.
I like that.
Expectations are low. I don't think we're going to show up and whimper like we saw, was it Real Madrid, a little team known as Madrid, do? I mean, that was embarrassing. I think United's got more fight. We're going to have more teeth. We got the dogs in the side.
And everyone's counted us out. I think that's
go.
the biggest thing. You know, how many games have we played in finals or even build-ups to finals where we're the favorite? When you're the favorite, the pressure's all on you. We're like miles ahead. I'm just talking statistically based on what the bookies are marking it as the big underdogs. And when you're in the underdogs, you got nothing to lose. All the pressure's on City. United have the players, they have the mentality, they have the capacity to beat this City side. I rewatched that win against City a couple times. We did get some luck on the offsides call that, you know, a neutral would say we got some luck, but United played fantastic in that game. We negated the freak himself, Haaland. We shut him down. Fred did a masterclass on just hounding De Bruyne all over the pitch. And United, if they play up to their capacity, if we play, I don't want to say a perfect game because you can never play a perfect game, but if you play as well as we know this team can play, we're in it, and we got a very good chance to win it. And you know what? I'm excited, sir. The flag is ready. The Manchester United, the beautiful colors are going to be going outside the house pretty soon. It's a cup final weekend. It's starting to get nice in Northern California. the June gloom, whatever they call it here. It's starting to break on through. We're going to get a 70-degree weekend. And I'm just excited about hopefully finishing this season strong, even with a defeat. I think as long as we play with some pride and go out there and push them to the limit, I'll be proud of this team. It's been a hell of a season, from the Ronaldo drama to the January window to the dip after we thought we were kind of sniffing at a sniff of a title race. We finished a little bit strong in the league. I like that. FA Cup, this is gravy on top. We already have one cup. This is a much more important cup in my mind. Oldest cup competition in the world. I like the FA Cup. I feel like it's gotten I don't know. All of the shine has gotten taken away from it by the Champions League and of course the league. But FA Cup, dude, it's that is an old cup competition.
Anyone who knows
that makes it cool.
Anything knows. I mean, you can make fun of the EFL Cup all you want, the League Cup.
It's
because it's a commercial cup. I mean, it was made just to have more TV rights. The FA Cup is the oldest football trophy in the history of football. I mean, it was made by the FA. It's the original competition. It predated the league. And so it's the oldest trophy in world football. And this is the 142nd FA Cup final. So it is a big deal. Manchester United would like to add another one to our trophy cabinet. We got a few trophies in there. And on the day, our manager's tricky. You have to fancy him. Bruno's tricky. Rashford's pretty quick. I've heard 30 goals this season. It might not be the 50 that Haaland scored, but if you watch the highlights, Rashford's doing a lot of work, and he's going to be threatening him behind. Bruno on the half turn. You got to rate us trying to hit him on the counter. I mean, that's where it's going to be all day for United. We can't sit too deep like Madrid did when they just got torn open. It's either going to go one way or the other. I mean, you have to be honest. We're going to be dangerous. They're going to be a little cagey. I just Pep Guardiola and Man City. You have to think about just the intangibles of teams, and this team has it all. They got all the players, but they're wearing the baby bitch blue, and there's something about that. What Pep Guardiola standing on the touchline of the Camp Nou, it's a different feeling. It's a different vibe. Standing at the Etihad, there's no teeth to it. That baby bitch blue, there's no teeth to it. There's no teeth to this club. It's all oil money. There's nothing there. It's just vaporware. They're going to be worried. When you face Manchester United, it means something. I think City's going to be a little nervous because this is a real tough task. I think we're going to be up for it. I think people are going to be surprised how this goes. City gets nervous in big games against United. Remember when they could have clinched the league against us? They didn't, right? And so we might see something like that. There's going to be a little extra pressure on Man City doing it against a big rival with the treble on the line. They're going to be thinking about all that, and United are going to be playing spoiler. I absolutely love this position for Manchester United and Erik ten Hag.
Nothing to lose. If you were looking at the bookies, you would think City's playing West Ham. It's like you're still playing Manchester United. You're still playing the third best team in England this season. Like you said, we have world beaters on our side. We have Bruno Fernandes. We have Casemiro. We have Rafael Varane. De Gea on his day. Dude, one of the elite shot stoppers.
On his day? Is it his day?
I don't know. We'll see.
That's
if he's
the
not
problem
on his
with
day,
United.
we're fucked. I'll tell you that.
That's the problem
If
with
he's not on
United.
his day, we're in trouble. But if he is, we'll be in this game. And it's like you said, it's like either we're going to be in it from the minute one and it's going to be edge-to-edge stuff, hard with chances, and maybe we just edge it, or it's going to be...
Was it slip on the banana peel?
Whatever it is, a little uglier. But what you want to say is United have to just stay in it early. Do not let them get early goals. And, dude, play it to win it. Play with pride. This is Manchester United, the greatest club in the world, the greatest fans in the world, the greatest history in the world. You look at City, it's like, what is this? You look at them like sing it, like even NBC Sports trying to puff them up.
No, they're nothing.
It actually just makes me sad because United, even if we lose, don't matter. I love this club. I just want the players to go out, play with pride. This manager should be proud. He worked his ass off. He turned the whole thing around from the beginning of the season, those early losses to Brighton and Brentford. And here we are now playing in the final against the best team in England. We're not far behind. We're a little bit farther than behind them. But in 90 minutes of football, anything's possible. And you know what? We edge them in the FA Cup final as it relates because we're only right behind Arsenal in terms of total trophies in that competition, sir.
Quick PSA for the podcast. If you're a Muppet like us and think we're going to beat Man City on Saturday, please check out our Patreon page. Support the pod, patreon.com/America Red Devils. You support us via Patreon directly. We don't have any sponsors or nothing. Not interrupting the podcast to sell you stuff you don't need because we do this for the love of the game. And if you want to support that fan content, please check it out. Also, check out our store, AmericaRedDevils.store. AmericaDevils.com for our fan blog as well. If you want to write for that, email us, AmericaDevils@gmail.com. This platform is all about getting that biased fan take from the couch out to the universe, sir. Tell them about iTunes reviews and other ways they can support the podcast.
5-star reviews of the America Red Devils podcast wherever you listen. It's a great way to support the pod. It helps us get found organically by other Muppets like yourself. And we're giving away free merch. All you have to do is write a 5-star review wherever you listen and send a screenshot to AmericaRedDevils@gmail.com with your mailing address, and I'll personally pick, pack, and ship free ARD gear. Send it right to your door anywhere in the world. All you have to do is write that review. Here's a great one from Warden 1107 for the fans. Been listening for over a year now, and the boys are absolutely great. You can feel how much they love and care about the club, and they are such Muppets. Yes, we are. If you want a show where you feel like you're discussing Man United with your mates, and this is the show for you, thank you for all the hours of entertainment, and keep up the good work. Glazers out. Thank you, Warden W07. Sir, how we doing?
We fought in Spain, we fought in the snow, and we fought in the rain. We took the cup and Chelsea too, but what we like most is kicking a blue.
And Leeds. You alluded to it, sir. That's what we're planning on doing. We got the Wembley. Not the Wembley, but I like, Numpty Alex calls it the Wembley. It's Wembley Stadium. It's Manchester City versus Manchester United in the FA Cup final. Saturday, June 3rd. Early. Fuck it. Early for the West Coast for a cup final. 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern. There are strikes once again. I'm glad we're not in England at the moment, sir. I can't do another
so horrible
travel. I love England. Love the English
No, the
culture.
train strike
But
is
that was a
crazy.
killer.
To
That's a
tell,
killer.
like, for the fans who aren't in England, this train strike is absolutely nuts. The fact they do that on FA Cup final day, I feel like it's the only way to get there from Manchester is via train. I mean, it's like a 4-hour plus drive. It's a 2-hour and change train. To like strike on the day of FA Cup final is brutal. It's going to impact. There's going to be buses, but think that's like literally an 8-9 hour trip round trip plus the match. It's incredible the effort the United fans are going to go through to get into this stadium. A lot of fans, United fans, are in London already, which will help. But don't underestimate the fan support traveling from Manchester, because that is going to be a hell of a trip with the train strike. Like I said earlier, this is the 142nd edition of the FA Cup, which is the oldest football tournament in the world. A little history: the Football Association Challenge Cup, or more commonly known as the FA Cup, is the annual knockout football competition in the men's domestic English football. It was first played in the 1871-72 season, which is insane. That's a little after we settled our Civil War here in the United States. And it is the oldest national football competition in the world. Obviously, if you don't know, FA was founded about a decade earlier. They put down the association rules for football, and then this was the competition that grew out of that rule set, or that competition, which became the modern game. I mean, obviously it was born in England and out of the FA, and now, it's worldwide. So it even made it to the United States, which is why we're Muppets to this day. And it's incredible, the rich history, 142 years of the FA Cup. And you got to put some respect on this cup.
You got to. And that's the fun thing about the FA Cup final. New competitions, new formats with the World Cup. Obviously, Champions League is the prize amongst prizes for club football. But in England, FA Cup still has that prestige that you love to see. United, I never liked being a Manchester United fan without the most of X Cup. And the fact that Arsenal, Bottlers FC, have more than us, that's something that needs to be rectified. So let's get one step closer by picking up lucky number 13 this Saturday. It's going to be a tough challenge. Like you said, United, on our day, I really feel like we could take anybody down. So I can't wait. It's, it's like no pressure, because you know what? The odds is like 4-1, dude. That means it's a gimme. It's a gimme. But Manchester United,
Bet the mortgage.
yeah, no thanks. They always count out Manchester United. I hope the boys show up for minute one. I hope we have a little bit of Eric Ten Hag tactical genius, because he has that certain games he shows up and puts some crazy shit on the field, and we're going to need that because
As long as Watt's not on the pitch, we're good.
as long as Watt's
getting into the logistics of the
Martial
FA
down.
Cup.
We'll talk about that in a second.
For those who don't know much about the competition, obviously United play in it. We're in the final, but it's open to all eligible clubs down to the 9th level of English football. So when we talk about the English football pyramid, there's insane amounts of levels. There's 9, 10 levels of clubs technically can get into it. The 10th level can sub for the 9th level, but it includes the 20 professional clubs in the Premier League, 72 in the English Football League, levels 2 to 4, and all the clubs in the National League system, 1 through 5.
5 through 9.
5 through 9, as well as a number of step-up clubs and non-entries, which you can get down to the 10th level, which is incredible. Record 763 clubs competed in the competition in 2011-12. Wow. So just to give you an idea, 763 different clubs are competing in this competition in England, and I'm pretty sure I could play for one of those 700, right? When you get down to level 9, you know.
He's back on the pitch. John!
Like, I know Wout Weghorst can get into
what's
that.
a pod?
You know?
It's like, it's a clockwork. You're back on the pitch now. Usually for Manchester
Sorry,
United.
you're goalie for what? Team 763?
Who's the guy
You know?
that was eating the pies? Isn't that Luton Town?
I forget the bed of the goalie.
The famous pie eater. My knees are not good, sir. I saw you ball a little bit in South America when we were backpacking, but
It's
yeah,
it's
I
an
don't know how
ongoing
it's
joke.
like in League 9, 9th division.
Hey, I think you need to show up in the 9th division. I'm just kidding. We're gonna go down the count of clubs who have won the most FA Cups. Arsenal 14, United 12, Chelsea 8, Tottenham 8. That's a little surprise there.
It is.
Scouse Bastards 8, Villa 8, Blackburn Rovers 6, Newcastle 6, City 6. So City win, they'll get to 7. Tie Villa. United win, we'll get to 13. Lucky 13. This could be our lucky 13th FA Cup. Some other facts on the FA Cup as far as the team. We covered who has won it the most. Most appearances in the final is a joint record between us and Arsenal with 21 appearances. So we've actually not done too well in the FA Cup. We've actually have the most defeats. We're tied with Everton and Chelsea with 8 defeats in the FA Cup final. 57, 58, 76, 79, 95, 05, 07, and 2018. So United, we lose FA Cup finals. If we lose this one, we are going to have the most defeats of any club.
Well, we've been to the most. So.
In the FA Cup final. Biggest win in the FA Cup final. City actually hold this record 6-0 against Watford in 2019. It's either going to go Manchester United record defeats, biggest win in the final, or we're going to be winning 13. I mean, some little nuggets of information there.
Hey, it's a competition steeped in history. I think if you have been there the most times, if you have the most appearances in a final, well, yeah, the record could go one of two ways. We have the second most wins. It's a fact, though, you could have the most losses. I think that's just part of the deal. As you get to finals, they don't always work out. I'm excited for this one. I'm excited that the season's not over. You know, as much as we've been talking about this marathon season, and for, you know, 2 guys with 2 kids each and jobs and wives to run a pod where you never miss a pod all game, every game. This has been a hell of a season, but this is what I'm looking forward to because you can't beat FA Cup final day. I'll tell you what, if I was taking a coach from Manchester to London and back, I would hope that you get a positive result in that bus back because it could get a little bit ugly. Ooh, that'd be a long bus back. That would not be that fun.
That would be a long bus. But let's jump into the matchup versus Manchester City. Lifetime, we've won 78, drawn 53, lost 58. First time we played them, Ardwick versus Manchester United. We won 5-1 in the FA Cup. What a result that would be. Last 5, 1-2, lost 3. And those defeats include a 6-3, which really wasn't kind. There were some like garbage time goals. I think Martial had a brace in garbage time there. That could have been 6-1 easily. 4-1 and 2-0. That 2-0 under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. That was the death blow. Sorry for smiling. See you later, Ole. So City has the most recent game. We beat them 2-1. And like you said, it took a nervy VAR call, but a big match. We are a big club. Let's go. I mean, Manchester United got to step up.
I mean, the difference is we're not going to have Martinez, but at the end of the day, what it took to fight in that game is we did stifle them. They got a goal. We got definitely a clean goal. I would argue that the tying goal, they got hard done. Because if that happened to us, I'd be furious. But at the end of the day, we fought tooth and nail, toe-to-toe with them. And obviously that was OT, but this is not going to be a home ground. Wembley, if anything, is going to advantage Manchester United because we actually have a fan base and real fans, not plastic.
I'll tell you, when we played against Newcastle, the first half didn't go great.
I'm not talking about Newcastle.
But I'm saying
I'm talking about Manchester City versus Manchester United's fan bases. Go ahead.
The point I'm trying to make is, at home, I agree with you. At home, we could beat Arsenal. At home, we could beat City. We could beat the best teams in England at home this season. This group of players, this manager, it was a fortress. When we went to Wembley against Newcastle and they brought the noise.
We scored 2 goals in the first half, sir, and iced the game, and by the 35th minute it was over.
Well, it wasn't.
Just saying.
It wasn't a great start. That's what I'm saying. The atmosphere, there's something about us getting off the bus and not being at home where the start can be a little nervy. You're right. It did end up getting the better of Newcastle, but it was nervy.
I think the Newcastle fans
and
also brought the
Wan-Bissaka
noise.
coming in shorted it all up.
Yeah, I mean, sir, making a lot of good points. I think that was the low start, and then he was getting torn up by St. Maxima, if I remember correctly. But then you had the Casemiro free kick header, and then obviously the Wout feeder to Rashford deflected goal that iced him pretty early. And you know what? Newcastle, they haven't won a Cup final in 60 years, so they were in fine voice. I just think our fans, I know it's not at home, I hear your point of view. I feel like we're going to have the edge.
No, it's just we're not in, I agree with you. It's just that the home form has been the best United. We're not at home.
Correct. No,
we are obviously not in the empty had, but we're just not at home. And you're right. We won. We won, scored 2 in the first half. It was just the start. And I think the first 10, the first 15 in this game is going to be everything. And if United can hang on, that's when we're going to be able to build something. But it's going to be wave after wave, sir. It's going to be, from the jump, this is going to be nutty. Last 5 games coming into the FA Cup final for Man City. They beat Everton 3-0. They beat Real Madrid 4-0. Chelsea 1-0. They drew Brighton and they lost to Brentford, but they had already locked up the league. So I'm sure they were resting and rotating there.
And I put in the wrong history, sir. So we're going to have to cobble together what we know about Manchester City. Obviously, our rivals from back in the day, Ardwick FC, changed their name, got all the issues around sports doping, even at the turn of the century, allowed us to pick up a number of big players under our first real big deal manager, Ernest Mangal. And the rest is history, sir. But how are they lining up these days? A little bit different. Not as many dark ale drinking English lads they used to have.
It's the 4-2. What? This is the 3-2-4-1.
This is what they played against Real Madrid when they
Kyle Walker, yeah. Ruben Diaz, Akanji at the back 3, John Stones and Rodri in midfield, Silva, De Bruyne, Gundogan, Grealish, and Erling Haaland up top. That is I thought I was looking at it. It's upside down.
It's like FIFA team, bro.
It literally is changing
upside
the game.
down,
They better show us some respect and not play this formation. If they do, we got to be able to get the best of them. The whole key is going to be not. United's going to want to pack deep, and we have to get out. We have to be able to play it out. We have to make it a game. And if we just, I watched the Real Madrid game, and that was crazy. But I just don't think they're going to be able to repeat that same performance. That to me just seems it's going to be a bridge too far for them. I think United, it's going to be, if we don't capitulate in the first 15, it's either going to be Harry Maguire letting in goals.
Is he starting?
No, he's not going to start, but it's going to be that vibe. Either it's just why do we show up today, or we're in a game. So you'll know in the first 15 minutes.
I agree. De Gea, you made me real nervous when you started talking about De Gea playing on the back, because if you're going to get at this team, you'd love to be able to hold possession.
You boot it, you're done. If you kick it up, you're done.
I know. You have to pass on the back, because otherwise they'll suffocate possession and you'll never get the ball.
All right, looking at the injuries, Donny van de Beek, he's out. Lissandro, the biggest omission here. He was a huge part of the win. He was all over the pitch when we beat them. Sabitzer injured, and then Antony, he should be back. It's going to be a late fitness test. I think off the bench would be a great option, so we're hoping to see him on the bench in the very least. Sir, given those injuries, what is your starting 11?
We also must mention Tony Martial pulled his hammy. I think he tore his hamstring. He is done. So he is missing the FA Cup final. Not surprising, the player who never should have gotten a new deal years ago. We won't be able to sell this summer because he's still on 250,000 pounds a week. So he will run out his contract and leave for a free. A real shame because there's a player there. It just didn't work out. Injuries, I don't know, attitude, work ethic, whatever it is.
There's a player there.
There was
Where's he going?
I mean,
Where he went to Sevilla.
There was a player there at some point. There is no longer a player there.
A season there. I'm gonna say is probably the
Sorry,
most
he's on the
fair.
wall. He's on the wall, bro. He's on the wall.
I know he's on the wall. He's gonna get
You put
taken
Daley Blind
down.
on the wall.
Daley Blind's a legend.
Yeah, Daley's a legend.
He's a legend. in the
Sure,
game.
they want just
Sure.
as much.
Come on, I'm just telling you, there was a season there for sure. There was a season, yes, and there was a goal against.
Well, he
the
was a
Scouse
young lad. He
Masters.
came out of the gates hot.
No, it's a
And you know
shame.
what?
It's a shame,
And
you know?
Mbappe was on his team as well.
Hey.
We signed the wrong French from Monaco. That's all I'm getting.
Hey, I'll tell you what, we sang that song too much. It ended up being prophecy.
Starting 11. De Gea and net. AWB, Shaw, Varane, Malacia is my back four. I'm not playing Lindelof. I don't trust it. I'm going to do Casemiro, Fred, Bruno, Eriksson. I'm going to do 2 packs of 2 for the midfield. And I'm going to play Rashford and Sancho up front. So what do you got in your lineup?
This one, this one is a very difficult lineup to pick. You're right. It's really the back line. Malacia doesn't have it. But then you look at Lindelof, and how is Holland not going to dunk header on him?
So I need Shaw, right? He actually played.
No,
center
here
back.
you go. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Shaw, Varane, Delo on the left. Casemiro, Bruno, Eriksson. And then you got to get to the front line. You got to go Garnacho, Rashford, and Sancho on the right.
Not playing an extra mid
Nope.
and playing to low against Mahrez.
Yeah, you got it. Malacia, he's not defensively sound. Delo and Malacia have the defensive issues at the end of the day, and Shaw is who you need out there. But Lindelof, that's the toughest decision Ten Hag's gonna have to make is the back line.
I mean, Malacia actually did play a left back position in that 2-1 win, but like you said, he has dipped in form. But I don't think Delo edges anybody defensively, at least recently. Either way. Booking the bookies, so the odds of Titans a tad. They're minus 370 for City, plus 295 for United. It was like over plus 350 for United a week ago when we looked at the odds initially. Given the odds, what is your score prediction, John, who is going first in the score prediction camp?
I'm gonna say 1-1 penalties. United win.
2-1, because we can't call a loss. It's a final, baby.
Yeah,
you gotta go for it. Because what are you gonna do? Like pussyfoot around? 2-1 Manchester United, same result as the home win against them. They get a goal. It's gonna be like. The thing is, their team is like everybody can score against you. So
they're nervous.
It could
They're
be
not
Grealish.
that-
It could be Gundogan. It could be
They don't
Mahrez.
have that.
It could
They don't have that
whoever.
killer. They don't have that killer mentality yet. Holland has it. The whole club doesn't have it. Pepsi.
I think the nerves are going to
Pep's
favor us.
They've blown the Champions League. They got nerves. Trust me. This team's got nerves. They're gonna have nerves against Inter, and Inter's gonna be an easy game. Everyone has nerves. They don't have nerves winning the league. They don't. Not one nerve in that locker room winning the league. Playing against Manchester United in a cup final, they got nerves, and then trying to win the Champions League, the yips are going to come. The question is, can United generate anything going forward?
Yeah, exactly.
Right, we're going to be able to hold the line. If De Gea has a good day, Shaw does work, we can hold. But the question is Rashford going to have a worldie of a day, or is he not? That's really it. It's Marcus or bust for United's attack. You'd hate to see that. He loves Sancho to have a day. I mean, obviously Bruno.
But people have to finish their I think that's going to be like, I think we will get chances.
It's our attack.
But we have to finish our chances because they're going to have more chances. And
yes, that's right. They will have
they
more
will
of the
have
ball,
more chances.
and they will
we
have
have
more
to
chances.
take our chances and score because we have not had the best success this season with chances scoring goals. Anyway, we got a lot of news. Let's get into it, my man.
United in the news. Diego Delo. Contract extension through 2025, 2026, 2027, 2028. Diego Delo. Diogo Delo. Me pronouncing his name incorrectly. This one is good and cheap, sir. You don't have to pay money. You don't have to sign anyone. We looked at right back this season. We said Delo, did he give you 10 games? That was like probably close to the job. Like, hey, this is what we need. He gave us
Beginning of the season,
maybe 5 to 7 games.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow, there could be a player there. And then he hasn't even been close to that. So the fact that we're extending him through 28 makes me think, like, what does that mean for Wan-Bissaka? So the conversation for me as a director of football, and maybe I'm reading into a horrible director of football decision here, which is basically, hey, we just need someone to right back. Let's just run it back in next season. We just don't have the money to buy anyone who's worth their salt at the right back position. So re-sign Delo, you got Wan-Bissaka through next year, and then you kind of punt. I think this is a punt on the right back position. If you're a serious club, City got rid of Cancelo. I mean, we're signing Delo for a 22 through 2028, and he ain't even close. You know what I'm saying? Like,
he's not even our best right back.
That's what I'm saying. And it's like he you have to do it for a season to earn this deal. You know, like Luke Shaw earned the deal for sure.
He did because he had 2 good years.
This has to be such a good deal for United that you just did it anyway, and then you can have the option to sell him. But we loaned him to AC Milan, we brought him back. Finally had a few games for us, then got injured, hasn't even been close to it. Not great defensively. Like, you look at the Newcastle FA Cup final, had to hook him.
At half.
Like, hooked him at half, put in Wan-Bissaka, like...
Lights out.
And it's one of those things where you're like, is that really the guy that we're giving the deal to? I don't dislike him. I just know what we need in that position. Right back, left back. I think left back you can say we can get away with that. Right back need an upgrade, serious upgrade at right back for Manchester United, and it looks like we're not going to get it.
Well, you definitely need an upgrade in this spot of the two, because at the end of the day, AWB, I think he's been terrific this season, especially in the second half of the year. He's starting to live up to that price tag. Defensively, he's elite. Even going forward, he's getting better. He can't cross, but he puts in those diagonal balls with pace very well. He does link up play well. This is a Glazer move. This is like re-signing De Gea because it's cheaper than going out and buying 1-2 extra players. So they're going to re-sign Diogo Delo because right now I bet you Erik ten Hag has no fucking idea what his transfer budget is because they don't know, because it's going to be dependent on the sale and whether the Glazers do sell. But I bet he can renew contracts. So he's like, well, I need it. You know, it's better to have Delo and AWB than AWB and whoever's next man up. I think Laird, who's on loan right now. So Diego Delo, like you said, like he started the season really well, looked like the player we had been hoping for years to come. I don't think he has it. I think AWB is the guy. I think you bring in another upgrade of Delo who has the attacking prowess, and then you use both of them as needed, see who kind of rises to the top. But I don't think Diogo Delo is good enough to be a Manchester United starting right back, but wishing him luck. But this is very much like a Glazer move, sir.
This is exactly what it's the Glazer move. It's like the Python strangle. It's like you're gasping for
the
air.
Martial New Deal.
It's just
19,
ruining.
Bro.
It's just like you keep giving deals. You don't like sack up and make moves. You don't turn over the roster. You don't reward like not earning it. You don't. You have to reward earning the position. If he had a standout year, most improved player, he's our right back. Like, you give him the deal. This is just defensive positioning from a conservative cash spend perspective. That's literally it. Our hands are, hey, we can't afford it. Re-sign him. And then it just is roster bloat going forward, so that it'll always be on the books and you'll loan him out and you're going to need the guy, but then you already have all these guys locked up. It's a nightmare from a director of football coming in and trying to make moves in the roster. Not necessarily the worst move for Manchester United, but
probably got a raise.
If you really think about it, like a top, look what Zinchenko did for Arsenal. Like, this position, if you got someone coming into it in a right or left back position, can change a team. And spending $50 million, I actually think this position is one of the most important for Manchester United, and I don't think Wan-Bissaka's earned it. But if you look at City and how they tick, running the flanks, being able to defend, this is critical to where English football is going, and I just don't think he's got the defensive chops. I don't know if Wan-Bissaka has the attacking chops, so we definitely needed someone to be the full package, and we're not going in that direction. So there's just more of the same from the Glazers. A little frustrating. But Delo did celebrate that goal for AC Milan against us very hard.
Stings you special.
No, and that's something that like I don't forgive as a fan, and I do not forgive Wout for touching that Anfield sign either. Like those are the things that I take notes. I have a pod, so I take notes on guys, and when he celebrated that goal against United with AC Milan, that was like I ain't coming back.
Well, he's a backup.
That's a little, and then he went with the Ronaldo. He took the photo with Ronaldo at the Portugal training ground after Ronaldo like blew up United.
That's
it's a little. It's like
he's not good enough, sir. Like AWB, I
think there's a little edge to him. I don't know if I like that.
He's a backup. AWB is like way better because defensively he at least is elite in one side of the pitch, and like I said, he has gotten much better.
I agree with that.
Wise,
I agree with that.
This second half of the season, like he is elite defender, and Delo is elite at nothing. So extending him is a cheap deal. It's because we're not going to go out and sign anybody. We've got other bigger fish to fry, which does make sense. But if we were a serious club, we'd be signing 6, 7, 8 players, and Delo would be on his way out. But that ain't the case. Apparently, we want to sign somebody. I'm hoping it's this player's agents fishing for a new deal.
No, it's
down
not
in London.
So
we'll see. We don't know yet.
Breaking news.
No, it's not. Okay.
Breaking
Tell
news.
me why.
From the Telegraph, from Ducker. Manchester United have agreed personal terms with Mason Mount and now are expected to sign the Chelsea midfielder. Somehow we're lead horse for Mason Mount. Sir, this one is crazy because there is no player. I would
turn
argue
the soundboard up. I got one right. I can turn the soundboard up after you're done. I'm sorry.
No, go. What do you got?
I prefer really not to.
Oh my God.
Not to speak. If I speak, I am in big trouble. In big trouble, and I don't want to be in big trouble.
I have a tendency when we're about to sign a player that I really don't want to sign. We sign him, and then Cavani had a really good year. I blasted him. I was wrong. His second year
ruined your day.
His second year was more like what I expected out of his first year, right? Like didn't show up, was like hanging out in Uruguay.
We don't need to get into Cavani.
No. The whole point is, I don't know if I've slagged off a player more in the last 5 years than Mason Mount. I mean, a dear friend of ours who we lost was a Chelsea fan, and he was the player that you would shit on. I would always shit on because all I remember was him having like great opportunities and like scuffing a shot wide and making that face.
All we did was hate on because there's no player.
Not that good.
There's literally no player in the league that I have you and me have collectively just like dumped on more than Mason Mount.
I'm trying.
Because there's no player.
I'm trying to think of one.
There's literally no player that's more overrated than Mason Mount. It doesn't make sense because I'm not English. I don't understand it. Like you look at Jack Grealish and you're like, dude, he's got it. Like he loves to party off the pitch. He's a dog.
He's a player.
Like he'll figure it out at City, but he's a player. He might not fit exactly into England, whatever. Mason Mount is just like bluffer, like all day. Like he's a pretty boy. He like tries to do too much with the ball. Like I've never seen it from him. I literally was like, okay, maybe I've been biased. So I literally got a 10-minute Chelsea fan Mason Mount highlight video. He has done so little. They're literally showing him shooting the ball and missing the net. Like that's in his highlight reel. You know, that's what I'm trying to say is like he hasn't done anything for Chelsea. He doesn't do anything at an elite level. And this deal is just like good and cheap for United. I have no idea how we're linked to like Frankie de Jong coming into to our midfield to go from Casemiro, even Eriksen at a certain level to Mason Mount. It's like he's Chelsea surplus. He's going to be a premium. They're talking 55 million. Chelsea won 85. Are you kidding me? Like we can't find like 85 million Caicedo. Like what are we doing here? I don't get this. You look at who we should be signing. You look at Matoma, like that guy breakout year in the league. You sign him for like 70. No one's going to like EPL proven on the come up. Mason Mount is like not EPL proven and not on the come up. And that's a big premium to pay for him. I don't get it. But apparently, I guess Ten Hag wants him. What are we going to do?
To play the contrarian, because we don't want to both be shitting on Mason Mount if he ends up like holding up some number later in the summer, is that it depends on price, right? Because at the end of the day, if 50 is insane. Like, if he can get it for like 30, 35, he's got 1 year left in his contract. He had a very average year. Even his best year wasn't that good, right? He scored 11 goals, 10 assists in his best year 2 years ago. His stats aren't terrific. and he's in the last year's contract. If you pay $50 million, you're insane because we can go pay $70 for Caicedo, who's a couple years younger and better. Dude, Kovacic is going to Man City. Kovacic is older, but I've always rated Kovacic more. Obviously, Conte is past his prime at this point. What a player he would have been to join United when we signed Pogba. We signed the wrong Frenchman that window. I'm hoping this is him trying to get a new deal because at the end of the day,
No, he's not. He's surplus requirements. Chelsea's going to get rid of him.
I know,
and
but
they're
maybe
getting rid of
that's him
Kovacic.
trying to posture with other clubs.
Sir, it says
we don't
sir,
do.
you're not,
Let me just
you
finish
didn't
this
read
one
the
point.
news. Terms agreed. We have agreed.
We
terms
agreed
with
terms
him.
with a little guy named Frankie de Jong. You know how many players you agree terms with? It doesn't matter. You have to agree with the other club. That is the ultimate. Like we agreed terms with Sancho.
I
a year
don't
before
think
we signed
agreed terms with. But you always agree terms with the players first. Then you try
No,
to
you
sign
do,
him.
of course.
But I'm saying
like,
it's
if
not
they
a
want
rumor.
80, that's insane.
This is not like the rumor has teeth to it, and there's a stage of the deal that's done. Not like hey, we're
Ornstein
linked
reported
to
it.
him.
Ornstein's tier 1, bro. And he
No, exactly. This is there's legs here.
look at that
and it
XG,
could-
bro. Look at that
But
XG.
like, okay, fine. Last 4 seasons, 22, 23, 3 goals, 2 assists,
He had one good
24 apps in the league. 32 apps, 21, 22, 11 goals, 10 assists. Best season he's had.
That's a solid season.
That is solid for sure. The season before, 36, 6 and 5. Then the season before that, 37, 7 and 5. You look at where he is from like a median perspective, it's like 6.5 goals over the last 4 seasons and 5 assists. That's what you're going to get out of Mason Mount. Is that worth $50 million? That's ultimately the question. And maybe it's the work he does off the ball. Ten Hag is a mad scientist. If United sign him, we're going to back him. I believe this man's overrated, and my main point on that he is overpriced. I think that the price that Chelsea is going to sell him at is overpriced, and that's the main issue. And you also look at the attacking midfield options we're going to have. We have midfield surplus issues at Manchester
You
United.
gotta sell
so
Donnie
then-
if you get this guy in, right?
Exactly.
It's also it's the price. It's the price. If it was $30 million,
If you swapped him for Magoo, deal. I'll take him. Magoo
straight
for
swap, actually.
Magoo for Mount, great deal. Like I would actually think you're winning. You
Yeah.
pay $65 million
He's
for him, you're
24,
losing.
and Maguire's about to be 30. What I've heard, the reason that apparently Ten Hag has wanted him for a little bit is that he has a very high work rate. He presses a lot. He helps turn the ball over, which I know is big and Eric Ten Hag ball. But paying anything more than £40 million for him is nuts. Last year of his contract, like Mason Mount, bro, can't even start in that team.
Last season, 3 goals, 2 assists.
I mean, they finished in 12th. I agree. I don't want him, sir. I'm just trying to two sides to every coin. You know, Mason Mount, I'm good because you're right. I don't think there's any player I've slated. Maybe Timo Werner when he was on for a hot minute, but like Mason Mount, all I can remember about Mason Mount in a game is like his grimace when he misses a wide open sitter. What else
This
we
is
got?
perplex. It's like the Mason and the people you turning on Mason Mount. Like, if anyone gets linked to United, all United fans just full 180.
we did the same
It's
with
like,
Wout, to
I'm
be
not
fair.
180. I did never 180 on Wout. I was like
never
Burnley,
backed down from
Burnley reject.
And he
He's
was.
not going to be any good. And
You've
he
never
wasn't
been so
good.
right in your whole life, by the way. You've never called it so correct. If you were always that right, you'd be like winning lotto tickets, bro.
So
that was like you
they
nailed
should
it.
hire me, director.
Speaking of which,
salty director of football, right here. Next one, Manchester United will not sign loanees Wout Weghorst and Marcel Sabitzer on permanent deals. Look, this is the right thing to do. Wout Weghorst touched the Anfield sign, gotta go. Sabitzer, wish I could have saw more, but I think that's the story where Sabitzer begs for a little more. I don't think he showed enough to stay at United, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, Wout's not even a question. Like, we don't have to discuss that anymore. Sabitzer, he got too many injuries. I think that was the shame. He scored some good goals. He scored a brace in Europe at a big game. Showed some moments of actual quality, but at the end of the day, you're going to have 2 things going against you. One, he just had a big injury, and he's had 3 injuries in less than 6 months at Manchester United ever since his loan. And also, Bayern has like an absurd expectation of what we're going to pay for him because they also think he's in last year or 2 of his deal. They want 25, 30 million pounds. Like, if you can get him for like 10, maybe, but I think we're good. We're moving on with our lives. It's going to be an interesting summer, sir, especially with the sale just murmuring on with no real tangible updates.
Next bit of news here. Manchester United considering possible Fred transfer to Fulham among interest. After the Fulham match, the last game at Old Trafford, Silva and Fred were having discussion in the parking lot. Now, I might be a salty director of football, armchair director of football, but Fred, I do not think is a player. If you want to talk about good and cheap, this is the good and cheap you should be going for.
Exactly.
Like, I'm not against good and cheap, but Fred is the good and cheap option you should probably keep. Now, he's inconsistent. That's the biggest issue. But you think of who could go like for like with Casemiro, especially if you're going for a character like Mount in midfield, which means, I guess, and we're also hearing rumors about McTominay. You got to keep one of Fred and McTominay in the middle of the park, in my opinion, going forward for next season, knowing United isn't going to bring someone else in.
No, it's a good point. And like, this is more, the low one is what I wish the Fred one was. They're both in the last year of their contract, or about to be. Fred, at least when he's like on his game, he plays sometimes lights out. Like, he just breaks up play. He makes a ton of tackles, turns the ball over.
Remember that pass to Bruno?
And he's had a couple really great passes this season. Dude, Delo's highs are not nearly as high as Fred's highs. So I have to agree with you. Good and cheap. I would just re-sign Fred because, dude, we're going to be scrambling last minute anyway. We've got the Paella brothers doing business. Like, I don't know. We're all over the place today. It's Muppet season officially, but I tend to agree with you. There's good and cheap when it makes sense. And then there's good and cheap,
Lindelof is good and cheap.
Yeah, you'd keep
third
him
or
around.
fourth
Yeah.
Depth chart center
Phil
back,
Jones
right?
getting a new contract
Literally.
at 19. That's good and cheap bad. Martial, that was also good and cheap bad.
No, it's like players who it's like you need squad players, but then you also need to know, like, we need a guy. We need the guy at right back. We need the guy at number 9 if Rashford's going to play on the left. And speaking of the guy at number 9, Harry Kane, per the Mail, only wants to move to Manchester United and will leave Tottenham for free next year if a deal can't be agreed. He wants to stay in the Premier League, and he wants Manchester United. Levy came out with the opening salvo. Pay me hundreds and hundreds of millions of pounds for Harry Kane. I won't sell him for nothing. Harry Kane's camp has come out and said, we want United, and I'm going, whether it's this summer or next. What do you make of this one? Harry Kane's side having their say in the press.
I mean, I think if he's going to make a move this summer and we're not going to get our pants pulled down, he has to angle for a move because, like, I don't know how Levy built this like reputation as this shrewd operator. If you ever saw was it Netflix or Amazon Prime that did like behind the scenes for Spurs? Like, he looks like the biggest numpty of all time. And you know what? Some of the managerial decisions he's made and transfers he's made, he's a numpty. But somehow he's like built this reputation as this shrewd businessman.
No, he's not a shrewd businessman, but he's a tough negotiator because he does price players at a spike basically and holds the line. The difference is when he's operated with this reputation over a decade, and I've seen him do it. He's always held the line. Like, I'm not going to sell Harry Kane for $1 less than 140, and he's going to let him leave on a free. And that when he says it, he means it. And
if he does, that's great.
But do we have anyone doing that at United? No. So like, we sell people. We're bluffers. We sell people for nothing. Look, Tellus, Bailly, we got all these people. We can't sell players. We're just like, Martial's going to be earning wages, not doing nothing next season. We're just a joke. I'd rather have somebody like this who's like a tough nut to crack in a transfer move. And that's ultimately why we're probably not going to get Harry Kane.
Yeah, but he passed over Eric Ten Hag for I don't even know who their manager is because they've already fired him.
I don't think he's doing a good job with running the club and winning, but like negotiating in the transfer window,
Sure.
He's like run a tough bargain.
But if Kane's in, Kane wants to play for Manchester United, it makes sense. We talked about why he wants to stay in England, right? He wants to break Alan Shearer's record of most goals scored in the EPL. I would be fine with like getting a young up-and-coming striker, investing elsewhere, and then having him come for free next year when he'll be 31, but he's got years left in the tank. I'd love him next year because I think this team
need him this year.
I know, I agree with you, but you can't pay no £100 million for a 31-year-old Harry Kane with 1 year left in his contract. That's like paying 50 for Mason Mount. No, that's like paying 80 for Mason Mount.
No, that's
Mount.
No,
Please don't
because
sign Mason Mount.
the difference is between the Mason Mount is you don't need Mason Mount.
Correct.
So first of all, you don't even need to pay anything
I'd rather
because
have
you don't
Fred.
need Mason Mount.
Yeah, exactly.
Second of all, as United as it stands today, we need a striker and we do not have one. And Harry Kane for $100 million if he's the guy, he's the guy. It don't matter none. It's like we need to be able to try to compete. And if Harry Kane can get us closer, then you need him at all costs, in my opinion, because who else can do the job? If you're looking at buying any up-and-coming number 9, look at the Scouse Bastards signing Nunez for how much? 80-something million?
85 million pounds.
That didn't go well. So if you're paying $100 million for like the guaranteed thing over the next 3 to 4 years, and it's the position we need, you're better off going out and paying through the nose because it's de-risked. You know he's going to do it. You know he can do it in the league. He might not be Haaland 2.0, but he's going to put up 40 goals, 30 goals a season for United in all comps, and that's exactly what the doctor ordered for Manchester United. And I would argue there's anyone else you're going to buy is going to be more risky than Harry Kane. So that's why I'd be fine paying for him, because we're dying for a 9. We need 3 of them.
We
You
do.
need the youngsters behind him.
We need the goals. And I hate to say it, he scores goals. I mean, he scored 28, 30 goals this year in the EPL on a terrible Spurs side. He guarantees you goals. He'd be even more productive behind Bruno Fernandes, Eriksen, Casemiro. He would be a goal scorer. It's just that, like, you don't want to get your pants pulled down, like I said. And Levy, he hates
No, but
negotiating
Levy
next
said he
year.
wouldn't sell him for 100, right?
He said he
that,
wanted 125 or
Because
something.
I'm like,
insane.
I'm fine with 100. It's not my money at the end
I mean,
of the
over
day.
4 years, he'll give you 4 years, you would imagine.
No, totally. But
Check
it's
out the
just
stats,
like
sir. What kind of stats has he got?
38 apps, durable,
This is
30 goals,
EPL,
3
bro.
assists.
30 goals on that team.
His XG is 6x Mason Mounts, 0.61 XG.
6x, not 6 plus.
Like
6
6 times his XG.
Dude, he had
in
23
22-23.
goals in 14 seasons 2 seasons ago. Like he is a goal scorer, and he's actually, his injury record is pretty good given his age. His brother's his agent, which is the funniest thing ever. Only client, he's not
And 30 goals in the EPL.
with this shit with like Bentacore behind him, bro.
No, it's incredible. So that one, 100 million. I think you can get him for 100 million. End of the window, though. Levy will just draw it out. He thinks like the press stories are like free branding, so he'll just jump behind that. Sir, we have any more transfer news here? I'm gonna pull up fan questions. See
More
what
of the
we got
same with
here.
the sale, right? It's just been lagging on. Like, apparently the Qataris have another bid, 5th bid, and like, who knows at this point. It feels like they're going to just drag that out until after the season. So no matter what, there's less blowback. They did talk about, we're talking about grades. They did talk about like Mason Greenwood. Erik ten Hag was asked about that. He had a very Glazer answer, which is like, it's not up to me. He has scored goals, which makes me believe that like the Glazers not giving him money, and if they're hanging around, might force him to keep that bag of issues around.
Sir, there's no comment on that situation until the club comment on that situation.
so
we
let's
addressed
go-
it on
let's
the
go-
pod.
let's go fan
I don't
questions.
need to be.
We don't like talking about it
We don't
either.
need to be jumping into Mason Greenwood
question.
hypotheticals.
First question for the fans, though.
Here's the thing: like the legal case was dropped.
Charges were dropped.
We talked about it then. It's up to the club. The club's got to decide. We all know the Glazers are going to decide. It's probably in the sale process negotiations ultimately what's going to happen there. So we will revisit that one when the club says something, which is incredible that they haven't to date. Jumping to fan questions at D_Cole18, quote, honestly, as long as the boys show up with some fight and don't get played off the park in the first 20 minutes, I'll be happy. I hope we stop the city scum from winning the treble. Obviously, and Erik ten Hag nabbing 2 trophies in top 4 would be huge, but our focus should be on nailing this transfer window. Great point. Nailing the transfer window is going to help us going forward. Cups are nice, though, but I'm hungry for trophies right now, and beating Pep Guardiola, that would be sweet.
Too sweet. It's so true.
Pissed off Pep. There's
Ugh.
nothing better than a pissed off Pep Guardiola.
And then they would
maybe
be the
a pissed off
bottlers.
Klopp. That's the only one that might be better.
Yeah, it's to those teeth. Because Klopp, something about seeing unhappy Klopp.
He's angry.
It
He's
makes me
angry.
happier. Because like Pep don't mind. Pep's like, I'm good, bro. Don't worry about me. I'm getting paid like $50 million a year, I'm sure, from the Abu Dhabi's off the books. I have to agree with this sentiment. Like, of course, I want to win. I want to win so badly. But I just want to go out there and us to play with pride and like match them for as long as possible. They are a machine of a team. They're like Terminator fucking 2. But let's just go out there, wear the badge of pride. We always have a chance. I want us to win it. Let's go win it. But either way, Manchester United till I die, baby. Love this club.
At Love the Bulls 18. Hey, John and Alex, would you guys like to see Fred or Erickson alongside Bruno and Casemiro? Me personally, I like to see Erickson for more of an attack-minded focus. What do you say, sir? I know you picked Fred.
And
I picked Erickson.
I picked both, sir. I'm playing four-man midfield.
Okay.
I'm doing the 4-2-2-2, which is a thing apparently. I had to look it up. But this is where we've, not quite the same way, but we've seen Bruno in the position where he plays out wide, and then you have Fred playing deeper with Casemiro, Erickson with a little bit of like kind of your natural 10. As long as it's not Wout at 10, I'll be happy. I think that's the way to. I think we have to try and get possession when we can get it. And if you go to like lock it up shop and you just do like McFred plus Bruno and Casemiro, then you can't slice through them with those passes when you do get the ball because, dude, we have pace, and I don't think their center backs are like, obviously their right back is insanely fast, but Rashford has some pace, Sancho has some pace. We got to be able to make those like slicing passes that Bruno does. I can't wait, bro.
You got to
Final.
break the press. You got to play
break-
Erickson. You got to break the press. You got to play
But
Erickson.
you
In my
need Fred
opinion.
just to cover
Okay,
De
look,
Bruyne. Just like,
Look, I like Fred. Hey, if I could pick from a menu, like good Fred, world beater
world-
Brazilian Fred, like yes, he's in the team all day. As far as
true.
what
Well
Fred
said.
you're gonna get, don't know. So like he's been playing well recently, but I'm gonna go with Erickson when it comes to breaking the lines with City, and I obviously picked one or the other, so that's why I'm going Erickson. Next one. At Simple G867500601. Quote, will John consider the season an A if we win the FA Cup, or does that just bump it to a B minus?
I thought you gave it a B.
I gave it a B.
You gave it a B. First of all, we got some
What do
heat.
people
we
think we got-
got some heat in the Discord. I said it was an A minus on the EPL season. I forgot to add, I was rated on a curve. This is not like empirically like how did we do in the season.
Yes, it was.
No,
that's what I said.
I caveated the shit
No,
out of
you
it.
didn't.
Start of the season.
you didn't.
Transfer. I did.
No.
I forgot to say
No,
curve. I was
no,
listening
you-
back.
no, you-
I was graded on a curve.
You
yes,
gave
I
it
was.
A minus. We
Yes,
won the
on a
EFL
curve,
Cup. Are
bro.
you
On a
kidding me,
curve,
bro?
baby. Come on.
I said
On a curve.
I said it's
It's not
like,
the SATs. It's not a point. It's not 1600.
Okay, I said it trebles the A plus.
Yeah, treble.
Right? That's
was
like the
the
max you
EPL
can get.
season on
And
a
I was
curve.
like, EFL Cup, come on,
The question's
man.
for
Like,
you.
get out
The
of
question's
here.
for you. It's
No,
not
I'm
for
just
me.
saying, like, this guy's A minus.
Caveat.
Hey, I like Alex
Caveat.
as a teacher in high school. Like, give me an A minus for doing nothing around here. Look, this is Manchester United. You got a grade on the history of the club and a season performance. We bottled Europa League, EFL. If we win this one, it's B plus. This is B plus. Scooting, you're almost like 89. B plus. You could get to A minus.
Like a
just
nice
'cause
teacher. Nice teacher would have bumped you up.
because
Like,
the reason would be you get top four, domestic double. I mean,
Top
that's you finish third, domestic double, first season for Eric Ten Hag. You almost got to be. That's close. You get close. You
Wout
get
Weghorst, he's your only
Here's the
fit
deal.
number 9 is Wout Weghorst.
You get close, but it's B plus because you made me sweat the Champions League at the end there,
Don't
and
worry
that's
about it.
unforgivable.
You see
I
those
don't
odds?
forget
You
that.
see those
I'll
odds?
tell you.
Plus
I don't-
400, bro. Don't worry about
No,
it.
I don't forget that making me sweat top four. If you didn't have that, you could get close. You almost get a 90, but it's 89. B plus, you win the FA Cup. B plus.
There you go. Grading system. Here you know.
Do you want to change your grade? Did you change your grade there? Or you just
That was
caveated it in a
caveat.
weird way that
Yeah.
no one understood.
It's called grading on a curve, bro.
So
you
if
go to
you-
a class where everyone does really poorly, and everyone gets bumped up. Like I was grading the EPL league
No, you grade
season,
the whole
38
season.
games. We're not doing that until you told everyone last pod what the plan is, sir. We're gonna break down the win against City. There you go, like that confidence.
And then we'll
on Saturday.
find our
and
grades
then
are
the
in flux.
following
Okay.
week, we're gonna do the whole recap. We're gonna
This
do the
guy
Players
hard
of the Year
defend
award.
A
We're
minus
gonna do
last
the
pod.
grade,
Now
I guess,
he's-
without
now
a
he's-
curve. It was on a curve. Everybody knows what a curve is. That's
I'm gonna,
how
okay,
I passed
all
it
we're
in
gonna do
college.
is when we come back for the review pod, I'll play the clip of whatever you said.
This guy
and
takes
then
notes.
we'll go
Don't
back.
trust me.
We'll
John
go back
takes
there.
notes.
All right. Do we have? We need to pull up the downloads last 7 days here. We got that, sir.
I got it, sir. Go ahead.
Hold on.
We couldn't do it without you fans. You guys, it's been a hell of a season. It's been a season of ups and downs with lots of highs, some deep, deep crevices of lows along the way, but it's about the friends you make along the way. We couldn't do it without the best fans in the world. We love you guys so much. Means the world to us. Top downloads last 7 days. Number 1, how you doing? Los Angeles, California. El Trafico, New York, Dallas, Texas, Chicago, Illinois, Charlotte, North Carolina, Toronto, Canada, Brooklyn, New York, Miami, Florida, Seattle, Washington, and St. Louis, Missouri. Appreciate all the American Devils listening week in, week out. Couldn't do it without you. Always darkest for the dawn. Manchester United never out of an FA Cup
Sorry, it's
final.
not dark anymore. We won a trophy. We're in top 4.
Let's look at the Glazers.
You know, it's like
at the Glazers.
darkest for the dawn. That was last season. This season, we're trying to go win the FA Cup at all
Sun is
costs.
rising,
We
baby.
hate our
Sun is
rivals,
rising.
noisy neighbors. Empty had the whole deal, made of plastic. They got nothing. We're going to show up. We got players. Let's just hope for a great game. And there's only one song we're going to end on here, and that's Kicking the Blue. Everyone have a great week. And come on, United. Let's go Red Devils in the FA Cup final.
Oh,